Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I hope everybody's doing well and that you guys are here to see this reading, which is going to be primarily for April, who is the winner of the monthly lottery that I do each and every month on my Patreon. So it's primarily for her, but she made it a point to make sure that I give you guys the details of her situation so that maybe this reading can help somebody else who's in a similar situation as well. So basically her situation in a nutshell would be a sense of feeling stuck in life. And that's just my summary of how I understand it. And we've all been there. Some of us are currently there to some extent. And if you are like April, if you are in a similar situation, then I recommend that you keep watching in case you can also take something away from it. So before we jump into the reading, let me look for her email in which she gives us a detailed description of how she feels and what's going on. So with her permission, I'm going to read it to you now. How can I become fully present in my body? I live my life in my head so much of the time that I feel completely disconnected from myself and the world around me. My body hurts all over the place. And deep down, I know that it's trying to tell me something, but I'm so conditioned to move away from pain or discomfort that I can't seem to sit myself long enough to hear what my body is communicating to me. More specifically, I've recently been promoted at work, and I keep having this internal conflict with myself about whether it's the right position for me. I've been having really bad anxiety since I took on this new role, and I can't tell whether it's because it's not the right job for me, or it's because I'm letting my fears get the best of me. I had hoped in taking this job that with the extra income, I could possibly afford my own apartment to resolve the situation with my ex. But now I'm feeling even more anxious than ever, and I don't know what to do. I guess my question is really about how to connect with my own intuition, my sense of knowing what is best for me, beyond anyone else's opinions or beliefs about me. How do I hear my own voice above everyone else's? I'm always waiting for confirmation from someone else or even the universe that I'm doing the right thing. I want to be able to tap into my own internal compass so that the only person that needs to approve of what I'm doing is me. Sorry if this is too scattered. To make my question more concise, how can I fully root myself into the present moment in my body to be able to hear my own voice? All right. So first and foremost, April is expressing a lack of connection with herself. It's like her body doesn't feel real, even though she experiences a lot of pain. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. If you don't have a daily relationship with your body, for example, in terms of exercising and such. It's easy to fall into this feeling of bodilessness because we live so much in our head. It's really a generational thing, I believe. We live in the abstract world of the internet, which is fine, and it's beautiful. I really love the internet. I think it's divine. But there needs to be a balance, and we need to take care of that animalistic part of ourselves. We need to tend to the body as well and not forget about it. So she expresses this feeling of a discrepancy between her experience of self and what the actual physical reality is. And she also mentions that she finds this lack of connection with the body to result in a lack of intuitiveness as well, which is interesting. But it makes sense because she's a Taurus. She's an earth sign. And I did a chart analysis for her, and earth signs are really important and dominant in her chart. So it makes sense that for her to be able to connect with that sense of an inner voice, she would need the support of her own body. And she also mentions a new challenging situation, which is good. It could be good because it's an opportunity for her to leave a strenuous and stressful situation, which is living with her ex right now. I feel particularly bad for her because I have been in that situation before, and I can tell you that it's hell on earth if you're ever forced into that sort of atmosphere for a long time, and she's been in it for an extended period of time. So that kind of thing, it really messes with your head, and I just really feel for her. So there's an opportunity disguised as a challenge, or a challenge disguised as an opportunity, however you want to put it. And she feels lost. She feels like she does not have the energy and the drive to really move forward in life, even though it seems like things are slowly aligning up for her. So I would like to start this reading by sending some good intention April's way. So if you're watching this video, this is going to be very powerful for her. I ask you to participate in this because the power of our combined good intentions is really going to make a difference for her. So I would like you to, if possible, put your palms together like this. It symbolizes the unity of the extremes, the two opposing forces of the universe coming together in harmony. And the thumb reaching for the sky represents our desire to connect with divine intervention. So we're asking for some peace and harmony to come April's way. April, we're thinking about you, all of us, everybody who's in this virtual space right now, including you. Everyone who's watching this video, we all are expressing our sympathy and our encouragement and our belief that you're on the right path. We're all connected in the sense that we often have the same, very similar hurdles in life. And so we have the same experience, not necessarily at the same time, not in the same geographical zone, and not necessarily to the same extent, but we all go through the same things. And we're sending some positive energies your way. Feel free to use it as you will. Okay. So, the thing is, that's why I love the tarot, because it can give you a very personal experience. A tarot reading is deeply intimate and personal. But at the same time, the tarot is a very basic itinerary of the human journey. It tells us about the most archetypal stages, situations, predicaments that we can get ourselves into. And it can hopefully help us navigate those situations. So now I'm going to draw one card to connect with you, April. Your current energies, where you're at right now. Alright. The next card is going to represent this feeling of discomfort that you've expressed in the beginning of your email. This feeling of not really being connected to your body. So let's see what the tarot has to say about that. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the challenge or crisis or whatever it is. This thing that could allow you to escape a situation that is suboptimal, to say the least, and horrifyingly bad, to be really honest. So let's see what the tarot has to say about this. Okay, and finally, I would like to find the card that will give you a clue as to how you can connect with your intuition. All right. So by the way, this is a freestyle reading. So if you have a question and you don't think it fits any of the reading types that I offer, you can always just send me an email like this or similar to this, and we can go through the different points just like I did with April's story, and we can ask the cards about the key important points. And the freestyle reading is very useful even if you don't have a question, because then the tarot can guide you to discover what the question is, because very often in life, asking the right questions is the battle half won. You're halfway there. You're halfway already successful if you're able to do that. All right. All right, so let's see. The first card represents you, strength. Okay. I think I've seen this card before in our readings. All right. The second one was your connection with the body. We have the moon. Okay. This next one is the challenge, crisis, Two of Pentacles. Very good. Okay. And finally, the intuition card, the world. All right. So, we have 3 major arcana cards, which is immediately screaming important. So, what you're going through right now, April, is a crucial time of self-discovery, and it's the pressure that's been cooking inside of you. It is for a reason. It's to make you stronger, and you know that deep within, because we have the strength card as your current mood or your current energetic level. Now, the thing about strength and strength is a lovely card, but I need to be truthful in explaining that strength often comes up when there are difficulties. So it does not mean that you gotta pass. It doesn't mean that the pressure is going to go any lower. It just means that you have the resources to deal with this. You have every tool, every energy resource, every physical, mental, emotional resource to be able to pull through this. And there's a deep understanding here. Strength represents, in many ways, and this is interesting, strength represents the knowledge of the body. So it's this intuitive, deep understanding of what needs to happen in order to survive. I sometimes am fascinated by these survival stories. People get lost in the wilderness and everybody thinks that they have died or that they have been kidnapped or whatever. And then weeks later they return to civilization and they are skinny as hell. They're very weak, but they are alive. And so I think there's just a very deep, primal part of us that knows exactly what needs to be done, that knows exactly how to regroup and distribute the energy resources available to the body in a way that preserves life. So it's this instinctual, deep knowledge of what needs to happen in order to preserve you for the next moment, the next month, the next year, the next whatever. It's life's innate ability to preserve itself, because you are the carrier of the DNA that wants to reproduce itself. And so this very deep subconscious part of us is taking care of us in situations of danger or scarcity. It's always been fascinating to me that this exists, because we normally don't have access to this knowledge. Just, going for a ride and on your bicycle, or just going shopping, sitting on your bed, watching ASMR videos. You're just not really connected with that part of yourself necessarily, because there's no need. You're safe. You're doing normal things. You're part of normal everyday life. And you're just fine. You have no need to tap into that pure and raw survival instinct. But the thing is, on a spiritual level, and I started all of this by explaining how it works with the body in my mind. So when it comes to the spiritual truth of the strength card, it's the same thing, but it happens on the spiritual level. So it's your soul detecting that it's in danger, that you're just in a situation that is sucking the life out of you, and you have been for a while. And manifestation powers are kicking in. That's why you got that new job. That promotion, to be more precise. That's how you got that new position. That's how you manifested, you created a way for you to get out of this. And that's a very powerful thing. So it's not a coincidence. Don't for a second think that it was a coincidence. This opportunity was pulled from your subconscious. It was created by you, by the universe, which is, in this paradigm that I'm speaking from, it's the same, it's one and the same thing. So, point being, it was created for you to be able to have a breakthrough. So now, we have the Two of Pentacles for the job situation itself. And the Two of Pentacles is the lower vibration equivalent of the Magician. So it's the minor arcana, little brother of the Magician. The Magician is about the power to create, just like I explained before. It's this magical creative power to take charge in our lives and create wonderful results. For example, if somebody goes through a weight loss journey, it's magic. It truly is. It's nothing short of magic. Because you look at it and you cannot believe it. How is this possible? How could this person have transformed themselves so much? Or if somebody just gets really fit or gets really good at doing yoga or something. Or if somebody learns something new and dedicates a lot of time and effort to it. We all know that it's practically possible, but it still seems like a miracle. And sometimes you can really work miracles, like true miracles, with the power of your will. I was just trying to give you some more down-to-earth examples. So, anyway, what the Two of Pentacles is trying to tell you is to take it day by day. Don't listen to your anxiety. There's no need. It is a lot more responsibility, it's true. But you need this responsibility. You need this for the time being. You might not need this job or this position, this particular situation, half a year from now. You can quit when it's over. So there's no need to feel like you're married to this position for the rest of your life. It will be eventually over. And the Two of Pentacles is basically about the need to just look at what's immediately in front of you. So don't try to, frustrate yourself by trying to look into the future too far ahead, because that's not the point now. There's a very strong survival energy in these two cards. And this card is telling you to just live for the day. Try to solve the problem that is designated to that given day. Just deal with it to the best of your ability. And then move on to the next day. This is how it is right now, but it will eventually change. And the Two of Pentacles is about physical circumstances changing. So this new position is an agent of change in your life. It's an ability for you to pull yourself out of this mess. And quite literally, Two of Pentacles can refer to moving as well. So moving to a new house, changing locations and stuff like that. So all I'm seeing is the idea of survival and the importance of survival reinforced. And if you are not feeling like you're in survival mode, don't worry about it. The deepest parts of your soul already know, and they are working on getting you out of there. So all you need to do is show up, do the job as best you can, save your money, and get the hell out of there. That's all you can do in this situation. The deeper, more delicate, more spiritually rich details of this story are being handled by your subconscious. And you are, to a certain extent, aware of this. So the energies of the subconscious working are elevated to the conscious level. You can feel them, but you have nothing really to do with them, is my point. But definitely in the earthy arena of life, you can do a lot. And you can make a lot of progress, even though the Two of Pentacles might not seem like you're moving mountains. It's making progress in smaller ways, but all of these smaller ways are going to add up. And one day you're just going to look around you and you'll be like, wow, I've made it. I've made it. So don't give up. Don't give up. You're doing it the best you can, and you're working towards a real, tangible solution here, so that's good. Now, the moon represents your relationship with your physical body. And I think this card is a perfect representation of how you described this feeling of detachment, this illusion of being separate from the body, because the way you describe it, you are somewhere deep within your body, like in the cockpit of some sort of a spacecraft, and you lost control over this spacecraft. So that's the experience that you're describing, which is very science fiction, very sort of not how life works really, but that's what we are conditioned to experience. Think about when you were young, how many movies you've seen, television, YouTube, watching moving images and losing ourselves in the darkness and staring at these flashy screens. This is what we've been doing all our lives, and it certainly has an effect. This is what the moon is referring to. It's this dimmed, foggy experience of life and of the reality of your body. So you're not inside your body, you are your body. You are your hands, your feet, your face, your hair, your waist, your everything. You are it. And you are in every fiber of your being. It's all you. And right now you are in this dream state, this illusory trance state of feeling like you are lost in there somewhere, that it's like a big castle and you're running around in this body, little you, trying to find your way out or trying to find a way to control the thing. No, the body is you, and you can gain full control over it by just recognizing it. So any activities, it doesn't have to be the classical meditation or yoga practice, but you can do this anytime. If you're doing the dishes, just pay close attention and focus on what your hands are doing. Try to really feel how the process unfolds. That could be one way of animating your body again, because anima is the soul. So when something is animated, it means that it's full of soul. So the soul is kind of infiltrating the entire system. So by animating your body in somehow the smallest ways, even, obviously it could be, probably the best would be to go for a hike or to swim or to do yoga or whatever. But if you're just feeling too down for that right now, because I know that that sort of headspace exists, so I understand if that's not possible for you right now. But whatever you do, everyday little activities, try to consciously make that connection in your mind of, I am my hand, I am my feet, I am my knees, whatever is, getting in contact with the physical world, whichever part of you. Give some conscious attention to that action. to be able to counteract this mirage that the moon creates. The moon is really, it's a fascinating card because it can be very positive, very dreamy, very elevated and artistic. And the reason for that is that the moon creates a natural tendency for abstraction, for mystifying things. But for you to be able to make sense of your intuition, for you to be able to reconnect with this intuition, you need to drop this illusion, which, as I explained, it's the illusion of your body being a vehicle that you somehow lost the keys to, and now you cannot get it started. Instead, your intuition can be reinvigorated, reignited by these sort of exercises and this sort of thinking, where you're very conscious of the tactile experience. So when you're holding something, feel the texture, really allow yourself to really make sure that what you're holding it well, that it really is in your hands. The world is in my hands right now. And so it sounds easy, but it might not be in practice. But there's really no other way. You're not listening to your voice because it's like, again, I'm going to go back to the castle metaphor. You're lost in this big castle, which you think is your body. And you're in one room, and your intuitive self is yelling and trying to get your attention from another room. So there's a sense of compartmentalization of intuitive, logical, emotional, practical, whatever selves. So it's like all these different facets of you, which is true. It exists. We all have these fragmented aspects of ourselves, but they should coexist in the same space. So inviting these selves to recognize that they are all within the same space. And even the body is in the same space as they are. Because truly, and this might sound weird, but I think it's true, we only have our experience of our body. We don't really have our body. So what we interact with it's basically the mental image or the mental model of our body. So it's almost like a copy of the real thing. And that's all we really have. It exists in our consciousness. That's the body for us. And so all of these fragmented ideas and these different paradigms of who we are, they are all basically fractions of our imagination, and they all can and should at least breathe the same air, is what I'm saying. They don't have to be smushed together. There's no need to try and force them to be one thing, but they can be in the same space. They can interact. You can find the overlap. You can find that, perhaps back to the tactile thing, perhaps you touch something really soft, something very nice and soft, and it creates an emotion. And there you go. You have your body and your emotions and even your thoughts, because you're registering what's going on. So your thinking, your emotional, and your physical self, they are all having a co-joined experience. And I think that's the way for you to start including the intuitive self as well. And that way, when you invite your intuitive self to the table to have dinner with all of your other selves, her voice is going to be heard. She won't have to yell anymore. It's not just going to be a muffled cry coming from far away. It will be one of the many voices. It's going to be the conference of selves. And who's to say that the intuitive self is always right? That's another thing that I wanted to point out. Intuition is not a 100% accurate weapon. Intuition is very ancient. It's very deep, very practical, and very useful to use. But it's not the only thing that exists out here. So once you have this convention of all these different aspects of yourself, where intuition can have her voice heard as well, but we have all these other, different reference points, and you can even listen to other people's opinions. You can also allow them to enter into the discussion. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when certain parts of yourself are isolated, shunned, not acknowledged, then obviously their function is not going to be fulfilled as well. So I think just by gently guiding your conscious awareness to recognize that all of your different selves, they all exist together, that they all just want to figure it out in their own way, and that you can be wrong, and there's nothing wrong about being wrong. That's another important thing that I wanted to communicate to you, is that you're looking for approval because you're trying to be perfect, but there's no need. Make a bad decision. Make a bad decision. Make it, and just allow it, because we all do wrong. It just happens. And it's just what it is. I think it's the added guilt trip of, what have I done? Why did I do this? Blah, blah, blah. I think that's what makes it worse. That's what makes a bad decision really bad, is the torturous treatment that comes after it. So that's what I was able to see in the cards for your situation. I can definitely see that you are on the right path. There's nothing wrong, April. You're doing your best, I can tell. And just keep working through this, because you're onto something. This is going to work. This will liberate you in the end. So I wish you the best of luck. Thank you everybody else for joining us and for watching this video. And I wish you all a good day or a good night. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.